game here today, ladies and saints. I got notes. Actually, I have quite a few notes. I have 3 pages worth of notes, and I'm willing to go through all of them. The lecture of this topic, the lecture of this topic, the title of this lecture is What Men Can Learn from Games Women Play. That's right. We're about to take a little bit of this game these chicks hit us with and see if we could shoot it back at them and see what we get. You dig? Women are actually quite crafty, and there's so much that we can apply if we would only be observant and diligent in our application of the tactics that they consistently hit us with. So let's go ahead and get to this work, ladies and saints. For those of you who have questions, comments, and tides and tuition, you can use the information in the description of this video. To begin, it should be known that there will be a significant discussion of female nature. And of course, with that, there's a parallel that may be drawn at times of male nature. And other times, we might speak of human nature. I'll try my best to differentiate when we're engaging those different things. So, number one, with regards to female nature, like the female seeks control and power and procreation. However, her tools are not superior physical strength. She doesn't have that asset. And so it falls to her to manipulate. You might say, Marquette, well, why manipulate? Why can't she use logic or reason or, you know, her brain? Well, she can and she does. There's no doubt. But manipulation is the unique skill of the female, largely connected to the wiring. It's almost effortless. Even women of low IQ can manipulate. And here's the important thing to understand as well. And I know you guys have seen this, whether you've seen it in person or you've seen it on a true crime TV show or a game show or what have you. You can observe a woman who's significantly younger than a man, a woman who is significantly less intelligent than a man, be able to mentally dominate him, be able to mentally control and manipulate him. And what that indicates, ladies and saints, is the high skill level that they operate at in terms of manipulation. Furthermore, if you look at the graph of IQ, what will be immediately revealed to you is that men have the higher IQ, which is to say, men are at the extremes, extreme imbecility and extreme genius. So the manipulative ability of the female is not necessarily and wholly connected to our traditional understanding of intelligence. Undoubtedly, it's a form of intelligence. Let that be known. And manipulation is a challenging thing because it breaks certain expectations we have. We have to go through this world assuming that most people are going to be honest and are not tricking us. It'd be exhausting to go through a world thinking that everyone's constantly lying. So there's a level of assumed trust. Manipulation violates that assumed trust. And a clever female can dress up manipulation as consideration. Hello. Yes, they can make you feel like they're doing you a favor, doing you a solid when they're actually manipulating you. Ooh, isn't that dirty? That's some real trickery. By the way, hit that like button. It's free. Jesus paid for it. Now, whether you're talking about influencing someone or manipulating them or getting your way, it all starts from the same point. It's essentially at some level a negotiation. Negotiations require leverage. Leverage, if you want to get some leverage, you need to ask yourself, well, what does the other person want? What does this woman want? Whether it's from me in particular, from life in general, from men in general, from relationships, what does she want? You best believe she's already asked herself that question about you. And frankly, she doesn't even need to ask it because it's so apparent. You want the intercourse. You're predictable. It's a terrible thing. Whereas with the woman, they're a little bit more complex. Well, we want the intercourse. The woman, oh, she wants more. And again, you can learn from her. She's not so easily pleased. And here's the thing, when she sets her price high, she sets her standards high, you guys rise to the occasion, huh? Yes, you do. Bend over backward for her. Do the most ludicrous and servile things. Get on one knee to propose marriage. Extraordinary. It's a sign of submission to lower yourself below someone who is smaller than you, huh? So, step one, try to understand, what does the other person want? How do I gain leverage? By understanding what they want and being able to decide if, when, and how much of it they get. So, how do I understand what they want and then I get in control of what the other person wants? Males, they want intercourse and affection. And sometimes the affection is just the indicator that you're on track to intercourse. Guys really want the intercourse. There's no doubt that guys as well want love. I'm not going to discount that. That is a true thing. So let us not forget that. But typically, that is not the immediate pursuit of the male. So ask yourself, what does the opponent want? How do I use that to drive them? Which is to say, to influence them. Now, if your drive as a man is for intercourse, what does the woman use on you? Restraint. Yes, she uses restraint. They want intercourse as much as you want intercourse. Marquette, what's the evidence of that? They pay to have these power tools that desensitize their bodies, these unnatural acts that they do just to get off. Oh, yeah. They are driven by carnal desires just as much as you. And in fact, I'd say at a higher level, because their perversion is revealed in their purchase of these kind of items. So, what should you learn from a woman above all? Restraint. Walk. Don't run. There's certain structures in the society that are a direct result of women organizing, something men we have failed to do. I'm going to get into that in a moment. I want to keep as much as possible on a linear move. So, if you're utilizing restraint, which is something that women utilize often and effectively, the question is, aside from in your mind saying, okay, I'm going to not behave in a thirsty way, I'm not going to be begging for it, besides the mindset aspect, what are the practical strategies you can utilize to actually help you with exercising restraint? Which is to say, not overtly and consistently uh, pursuing the intercourse. How do you achieve that? Well, first, let me differentiate, if you don't mind, the difference between the male sex drive and the female sex drive, because I don't want you guys to think that, oh, like women just want it less. No, no, no. They want it, but in a different way. I'm going to explain that right now, shortly. But first, let me take a moment to acknowledge the folks supporting the work. As we do within our culture, show love to those who show love to you. May I acknowledge Chung came in supporting the work using the super chat. And again, I want to thank you for allowing me to guest appear on your channel. May I acknowledge Dolce came in using the Stripe link in the description. I also acknowledge via Venmo, shout out to Anthony. He was the very first person supporting before the live stream even started. He writes, "Peace of the Saints showing support." I also acknowledge Marcus. He writes, "Thanks for the wisdom and inspiration. You are very welcome, sir. Thank you for the support." Shout out to Charlie, came in via Venmo, sending in tuition. I also acknowledge Andre. He writes, "You stated on yesterday's live that the female is not looking for a man. Could you please elaborate?" It was true yesterday and it's true today, and I stick by it. That is correct. The female is not looking for a man. What do women want? Not you. You're a man. What women want, here's some of the following: attention. Attention. Yeah, attention. In fact, human beings in general want attention, but women have a much more serious need for it as it's critical to their self worth. Yes, all women need it. The good women want attention from the man that they're interested in. Maybe it's their husband. The filthy women want attention from anyone who will give it, and that's why they're dangerous. What else do women want? Commitment slash marriage. Well, Marquette, well, commitment slash marriage, why is that together? Well, because commitment itself just ain't good enough for them. No, not in 2025. It's just not good enough. They need the marriage, which is to say, to be able to trap you and to exercise even more leverage over you with the state, that is the government, as their instrument. And this fills the gap that allowed you to have an advantage. As I stated earlier, the female being physically inferior does not have the advantage of her physical superiority, but she has the skills of manipulation. And now, with the government behind her, she technically does have physical superiority, because what the government is a tool of violence. Yes, the government enforces everything through violence. They send the police at you, then they lock you in the prison. This is violence, whether it's economic violence or direct violence that they exercise upon you. So the female, utilizing the government as her instrument, now has control over you and physical domination over you. And marriage is the very institution that she utilizes for that end. Additionally, she wants provision. They often use the terminology of provider, which is to say, I don't want to have to go out in this world and struggle and work and all that. I'll let you do it, sucker. And at some level, they want love. But the important thing, oh, yes, and also time. Don't forget time. You have to invest the time. The money all by itself, not good enough. They need your time. They also need your emotions. They need your attention. And they need your legal commitment. These are the things that they want in concert. But here's the kicker: it's not like they want these things just from you or always and only from you. They might want these things, but eventually want it from a different man who is not you. Come on now. And because the female is best understood as a narcissist, you have to know that they will trade you in, and they'll even trade in their own children for the sake of their own happiness. Now, that's ironic because women are almost never like in a persistent state of joy. So, this is precisely why you must make every effort to select well. That's why in the big game conference, I go so deep into selection, selection, selection. And this is to my point of women are flighty. By flighty, that means that they'll dip out on you. The best way to counter this is A, to not have a woman, pick a woman who's very flighty. That's the best way. The second best way is to be able to, shake up that dynamic, because for her to be flighty, that requires her having a man that's very concerned with holding on to her. The moment she starts expressing flightiness and you say, oh, were you looking for the door? The door is over there. It's a double door, a French door. You'll make it out just fine. Would you like me to open it? The moment you utilize that, now they're a lot less flighty. They're very much so psychological characters. And it's unfortunate that being straightforward will never be the only and best way to deal with them. You will always have to have game. There will always be a game being played. This is the nature of the human female. They may state otherwise, but what they say is of little meaning. Come on now. Now, the level of manipulation of the human female, and so much of it circles around intercourse, And that's not because I'm an intercourse focused person. That's because Freud was right. Intercourse and procreation, the drive to procreate, that drives pretty much every species. It's absolutely fundamental. And so that's going to come up a lot. Come on now. We're talking about it. And thank you for that question, Andre. Came in supporting via Venmo. May also acknowledge Emmanuel writes, peace and saints paying tuition. Shout out to those men who stand up, make their name known. Also acknowledge the first baller alert. Shout out to the ballers. Joshua writes, peace to the saints, just paying what I owe. Shout out to them ballers. And the ladies love that. That's for damn sure. I also acknowledge Michael. He writes, I can relate to your recent live about being in the moment when spitting game. I was taking phone orders, and before the first ring went through, I picked up. She said, wow, that was fast. I replied, yeah, I was waiting for you to call me. She laughs, and I knew I had her. Bro, it be like that. Now the key is when you got her, it's like that instant conversion. You heard me? That's the key, because timing is critical with females. If you ever been a young ball trying to take down a female, you know timing is critical. Here's a funny thing about women, because they're so flighty and they're so whimsical. You might be dealing with a chick and there may be a moment, a window that you can smash. But outside of that window, whenever that window was, you cannot smash. It just doesn't matter. But here's another kicker thing. Here's another one. Let me get more sinister. You might encounter a woman and then there's a window of time that anybody could have smashed. It didn't even matter if it was you. It could have been anybody in the club could have smashed in that window. She was feeling herself. She was slizzard. She was feeling attractive, or she was feeling completely unattractive, feeling low self esteem. It was a rebound after a breakup. You know, the human female, they're really basket cases. You hear me? And so timing is so imperative that you strike while the iron is hot. You have the best chance of striking during the right window if you're striking a lot. That's the key. That's absolutely the key. Shout out to Miles. He writes, peace to the saints. I have an off topic question. Of course, feel free. He writes, tech. Would it be wise to get your AI course as well as join a cybersecurity apprenticeship program? Also, do you trust many apprenticeship programs? I'm skeptical of them, but I have no experience in tech and I need to pivot quickly. When you say you need to pivot quickly, you'd be wise to state the precise circumstance, meaning I have to replace my current income or I'm looking to start a career. Those have different timelines. But I'll tell you this, if you don't ever intend to create your own product or become an entrepreneur, and you don't necessarily have to be the number one guy in the company, maybe the one, two, three, four, five guy. If you don't want to work in a startup at all, you don't want to start your own thing, I don't recommend the AI course. Now, granted, that takes money out of my pocket, being honest with you, but I want all of you to have the best opportunity to be successful and happy. With regards to cybersecurity apprenticeship programs, we know not all things are created equally. I couldn't comment on it because I'm not familiar with the program that you're taking, but I would encourage you certainly to do some research, talk to people who have done it, and most importantly, try to figure out what the conversion rate is on jobs within 6 months of completing the program. Shout out to Wayne, comes in by PayPal, writes, peace and saints tuition. Your voice seems under the weather. Wishing you a speedy recovery. I appreciate you. You know, the crazy thing is I actually think that I'm over the worst part of it, even though this sounds like the worst part. Shout out to Brad, writes tuition, comes in by Venmo. I also acknowledge Jose, writes tuition, peace and saints. I appreciate you. Oh yeah, and by the way, shout out to Reginald, has a new product out. I believe you can find it on thesassin.com. That's THESASN.com. Click products, or you can find it on mdblabel.com. It is the brown backpack briefcase. I got the black one right here. You dig? You can get them at mdblabel.com. I take mine around the world. This is literally the original sample from like 4-5 years ago, and it's held up beautifully. Now imagine, I got a bunch of spares. I could just switch one out. It's held up so beautifully. I haven't even done that. It's the original sample. So if you want to, step your game up, you dig, stop, walking around with like a kid backpack, get you a backpack briefcase, boss up. Shout out to Gary, supporting the work via Stripe. Looks like he may have came in 2 times. Appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. Yes, indeedy. Oh, yeah, and by the way, if you feel like you don't even have a dollar to your name, which is probably not the case, feel free to hit that like button. It's a way to show appreciation. And that's what honorable people do, especially honorable men. They don't freeload, they show their thanks. Anyway, shout out to, okay, guess we're all caught up there. Fantastic. Oh, yeah, Chunkster writes, support this fan channel, Peace of the Saints. If I didn't read that one already, I wanted to make sure I acknowledge that. Back to this high level game. I was talking about how truly diabolical women are to hold off on on intercourse, even though they want it. You see, the intercourse is a tool to get the human male to do what he doesn't want to do. Marquette, what do you mean? Yes, they withhold the intercourse to manipulate you. And this has been historically true, to manipulate you to get a better deal for themselves. The idea that marriage, which is to say a lifetime commitment, comes after intercourse. They use the intercourse to get you to do something maybe you wouldn't do otherwise. It's almost like having you sign a contract while you're drunk. Isn't that dirty? And we all know about post nut clarity, why they want you to make these decisions pre nut. Hmm? And the even funnier thing is that historically, I'd like to know how many cases of men thinking they were marrying a virgin occurred when in fact she was not a virgin, lost it to one of her family members through unfortunate circumstances, lost it to her own hand, lost it to her girlfriend, female friend, lost it to another guy, and then tried to finesse you. Come on now. Come on now. So, one thing we have to know is the institution of marriage itself is for the female benefit. The structure of having marriage come, the intercourse come after marriage is to the female benefit and to the male detriment. Come on now. Now, what I wanted to describe to you guys is the difference in male and female libido and how it's expressed. Both of them, both the healthy male and the healthy female, have a strong libido. The difference is that the male is indiscriminate in his drive, whereas the female has hers more so connected to trust and familiarity. This is obviously not the case for everyone. This is what is typical, especially in the female that is physically and mentally healthy. That's why they want to get to know you. Yeah? Or that's why they want to make you take out time, take them on dates, especially if they're interested in you. As I've stated before, if they want to stay with you, they have to play with you. Mm-hmm. So there's various challenges and tests that the female will put you through. And the way you should think about it is that one, you have a given that a woman is always going to put you through a challenge, a test, but you cannot be a hero without a test. And this is just a general mindset that you should take to life, knowing that you cannot be a hero without overcoming. And it'll allow you to suffer your challenges in life, um, in a more impressive way. And colloquially, we can say, just go ahead, keep it player. Now, what more should we learn from women? Well, let me tell you one thing we should not learn from women: how to listen. Whew. Women talk a lot more than men. They're more verbose, they're more wordy, which is ironic because mostly they're not saying anything. You ever heard them tell a story or tell a joke? It's terrible. But don't learn how to listen from a woman, because women mostly like to talk. And again, it goes back to them being narcissists. If you can accept that every woman at some level is a narcissist, then you will have a much stronger fundamental understanding of the human female's nature. The reason you should not learn how to listen from the human females because she's not the leader. Leaders listen. Leaders need to understand their constituents. Leaders are going to yield the floor. Leaders are waiting to ask the right question to get you talking and expressing yourself, because the more you talk, the more you provide intelligence on you. And with that intelligence, which is to say data, information, that can be utilized to run strategy against the female. So you'd be wise to try your best to get her to talk. And the irony is that mostly women, when they're in their happy place, that's when they're talking freely, particularly if they feel like they're not being judged. Hmm? So don't listen like a woman, listen like a man, listen like a leader. That's different than how they operate. They're not really concerned because women are always under the assumption, because you guys let them, because the weak males let them, they're under the assumption that they're being pursued. They're under the assumption that you're trying to impress them. They're When they're in a state of joy, they're thoughtless. And that's why they just babble, 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 because it's releasing endorphins when they're talking. They get joy out of the conversation itself and the attention that comes with the conversation. Come on now, the attention. Remember earlier, I said that's something that the human female wants from you. And I also encouraged you to know what the other person wants and figure out how to leverage that, which is to say, don't give it out for free. Now you gonna have to pay to play, baby. We got some good game for you today, ladies and saints. I got pages of notes. I got 2 pages of handwritten notes, a whole page of typed notes. We really gonna talk about it today, ladies and saints. Look at, we got a hater in the building. Bro said the women in Germany giving you no play. Well, that's funny. I'm not even in Germany, little buddy. You got to keep up, man. You got to keep up. You're moving too slow. You're thinking slow. That's your challenge in life. Anyways, shout out to Gabriel, and thank you to the haters in attendance. I appreciate you. Go ahead and block, little buddy. Shout out to Gabriel. He writes, "Peace to the saints." Appreciate you. Thank you to those folks standing up. I also acknowledge Daz. He writes, "Peace to the saints, big homie." Daz, let me go ahead and set this one aside for you so we can have somebody check on that. Thank you for the note. Carrying on. I acknowledge Mr. Chambliss. He writes, "Watch out for women dressing like men from GTA." Watch out for women who dress like main characters from Duck Dynasty. Watch out for women who complain because you don't look like Chris Brown or Reggie Bush. That's all good advice. All of that is solid. You did. Oh man, women are funny, and there's a couple of things that are telltale signs of the woman being a loon. For example, if you see a woman that has on an excessive amount of makeup, you can bet your bottom dollar she has mental issues. Oh, here's another one. If a woman ever says that she's healing, she has mental issues. If a woman ever makes any reference to therapy, she has mental issues. And it is what it is. It's not an insult. It's a point of fact. Many of the things I'm telling you are generally true. The three aforementioned statements are always true. You will never meet a woman who's mentally well and is just caking on the makeup. It's a matter of self negation. Shout out to shout out to I'm wilding. We'll go ahead and wind it down. If folks aren't supporting the work, I appreciate those of you who have. I'll just assume that you guys have had your fill, and maybe I'll do these notes for the members on a pre-record. One thing I want to note to you all is that when you understand something psychologically, it empowers you to operate more effectively. For example, track runners were not able to achieve the 4-minute mile until someone showed that it was possible. Basic understandings, fundamental understandings of a given phenomena allows you to better deal with that concept or that person or that entity in the real world when you get it mentally. So knowledge can be very useful. The lack of knowledge is going to limit how you look at things, it's going to limit your imagination, it's going to be detrimental. So I say all that to say I really want you to have a strong agreement, understanding of the female libido and how it operates, but also have a strong understanding of the psychological infrastructure that has been erected by the matriarchy. And you'll find that there's almost always a double standard that's unfavorable toward men. Marquette, what speaketh of you? Well, I'll give you an example. Women, um, they say that they need foreplay, they need their bodies warmed up. Well, warmed up for what, sis? Aren't we both young and healthy? You know, some of them they're just dry sandpaper down below, and they want you to foreplay them and do all this extra stuff. Now, me personally, when it's game time, you heard me. Oh, I'm ready, off rip. I don't need a warm up. I'm ready to suit up. You dig? I don't need to stretch or nothing. I'm already on go. So if I'm already hard, why you ain't wet? You heard me? Like if I'm hard, why you ain't wet? Let's go match my energy, baby. But here's the kicker. Where's the double standard at? Check this out. If you ever hear of a guy that ain't on strong when it's time to get it on, chicks is talking reckless. You heard me? Yeah, they got all kind of names and disrespect, right? But if Shorty ain't, if the waterworks ain't going, when you didn't showed up to the water park, ain't no water there, she act like that's all good and that's all normal. Hell nah. What is this, menopause? What's wrong with you, Shorty? Something wrong with you. They want you to put in all this extra work because they body ain't working right. Come on now. Marquette, what do you mean? How do you know their body ain't working right? Most women, you touch it, you like, ooh, it's ready. It's ready. Let's get after it. So understand this. Marquette, well, with your sagacity and wisdom, why is it that the woman's body is not working the way it was designed to work? Well, it's not working the way it was designed to work because in their perversion, they've used all these power tools, and now their body does not respond to that which is human, God made, but rather they respond to that which is plastic and vibrating and battery operated, man made. So they've overstimulated themselves such that they cannot be pleased and stimulated properly from a normal effort or presence of a human being. You hear me? They're that unnatural. They've destroyed themselves. They've hurt their own bodies. Come on now. And the same thing happens to the male pervs. These male pervs over consuming any amount of adult content consumed is overconsumption. But they're doing all of that. And now they're just attracted to cartoons. These boys been watching the cartoon joints. They can't even get on strong. Yeah, something wrong with them. But the point is that when it's the female, we act like it's all good. When it's the male, we're like, this nigga needs some pills. Something wrong with him. Get this broad a pill. You heard me? Get her a pill and a bottle of KY. Something wrong with her. You dig? Now, me personally, I don't want to deal with all of that. I mean, we got to do it al natural. If that thing ain't going to get on flood, I don't really want it. You did get after somebody else. That ain't for me. That's not how God wanted me to live. I need it on flood, off rip. You dig? Yeah. When it's time, I want you to be like, hey, I've been waiting for this. Yeah. Soon as I looked at you, I knew I needed some new underwear. I don't need Shorty over here. You didn't touch that thing. You can hear sound effects. It should sound like, no, I don't need it sounding like that. I don't need it. I don't need all, no, that ain't the one. That ain't the one. But I think you guys can take my point of they've created a psychological superstructure around the idea that it's okay for their bodies to underperform, which is a direct result of them being pervs and using power tools. But for your body to underperform or to not be ready, that's something clinical. When it's them, oh, you just need more foreplay. When it's you, it's clinical. Come on now, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And for the record, I ain't never had an issue there. I'll be ready to report for work. My soldier be ready to march. Ain't even no war going on. You heard me? My soldier ready. The war ain't even popped off. I'm trying to start a war. You did? You heard me? I'm ready to clock in for work early. I'll be feeling like I'm 13 out here half the time. Yeah. And just for the side note, if the ladies is watching, you dig? Bang my IG, Marquette Devon, MarquetteDavon. If you need to see what it do. Yeah, I mess around and skeet and still be on strong. They be like, how you do that? I'm like, baby, it's magic. It's black magic. Huh? So the foreplay concept itself is something that comes from female perversion. It's nonsense. Come on now. Baby got biological issues. Let's talk about it. Huh? I don't need you to warm me up. Why I got to warm you up? Why does your car take so much work to get started? Mine is a push to start. Yeah, effortless. Boom, it's on. Let's go. Your car needed all this stuff to get it started. We got to wait for it to warm up. Nah, hell nah, that ain't right. You need to see a doctor. Come on now. And all of the deficiencies in the human female, because increasingly we have women going into science and turning real biological science into opinion and into pseudoscience. Now they make all these excuses for things. The term geriatric pregnancy, for example, is now going out, becoming, the word starts with an O. What is that word? Obsolete. It's becoming obsolete. They're taking it out of usage. Well, why is that? Because these women are taking so long to have kids. They don't want to be described as geriatric, which is to say the elderly having kids. They want to feel better. They don't want to hear the truth. And this is very much inherent to female nature. And again, goes back to what I mentioned earlier, which is the narcissism. A narcissist cannot speak critically of the self. They cannot truly introspect. There is no real level of self-awareness. Come on now. Shout out to Frank supporting the work using the Stripe link. Now, so acknowledge Austin writes, question on IGDM. Okay, I'm going to take a look-see. I'm going to go ahead and take a look-see. What you got here? Hopefully you're... Okay, boom, got it right here. He writes, peace of the saints. Shorty asked me if I'm willing to move in with her. If you were at the Big Game Conference, or if you purchased the Big Game Conference, I'm talking to everyone right now, please review it. It has the exact answer to this question, because this is a common experience in this man and woman thing that we do. He writes, I said I consider it, but I'm not living with any pets. She has a pre-existing relationship with her dog and said it's a deal breaker. Yeah, that's a red flag. I know arguing with dog lovers is akin to arguing religion. This is in fact true. Is this a case of enjoy it while it lasts? Yeah, absolutely. And milk it too. You heard me? And, live AOB without living under her roof. He writes, don't win the argument, win the negotiation, 100%. He writes, I feel like I know the answer, but I need to hear it from the big homie. Oh yeah, you absolutely do know the answer. And the beautiful thing is that you're a very young man, good looking young man with infinite potential. And so however good a match this may seem, however attractive she may be or wealthy, whatever her high point is, I assure you, you're going to find someone better. So, get her for what she's worth and then kick her to the curb because she's a psychopath. The idea that a woman would consider an animal a beast over a relationship with a man, a relationship that can lead to procreation and legacy, these two things don't compare. So it lets you know that her focus is on so much the wrong thing, that she's frankly a dangerous person. May I acknowledge Dominic? He writes, thank you for the message from Saints Weekend. Peace to the Saints. Tuition, glad to see you and the MDB Velvet Black out in the world. Safe travels. I have no question about this topic right now, but I'm still here to learn and show support while working. Oh, absolutely. And all the MDB label hats you can get at mdblabel.com or thesassin.com, thesasn.com, click products. Also, and Dominic has a number of products there you can support him on. Good brother, though. Good heart. If you were ever to support anyone, he's a great candidate. Shout out to Justice. He writes, peace of saints, be good to good people. Show no mercy to anyone that betrays you. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. And that is truly a righteous statement because people who are not good people, they don't deserve good treatment. Huh? Yeah, they don't deserve good treatment. You be doing the world a favor to do them dirty. You dig? Yes, sir, Bob. So we have clarified the nature of the female libido, yet they're able to use various strategies to contain it, most of them unnatural and perverse. They'll deal with other females and not talk about it. They'll, stimulate themselves endlessly using a variety of human or man made metallic and plastic devices that they bought on the internet. And in addition, they'll leverage their friendships to make sure that they feel psychologically comforted while having the void that exists when you don't have a significant other. And that's something we can learn from the human female, which is to say, we must build our friendships. Men are not so good at building friendships. Women can bond over fairly trivial things. When women go to the restroom, for example, they're damn near in there having a shareholders meeting, despite there being poop perfumed throughout the entire room. I find it to be strange and disgusting. Me personally, when I go into a public bathroom, my greatest goal is to get out. As soon as I get in, I'm trying to get out. And I damn sure ain't in there slapping fives and exchanging Snapchats. But women do that. And as a result, they're able to easily form bonds, and that prevents them from experiencing some of the levels of loneliness that the human male suffers. And that's why guys who may end up in a relationship, they kind of end up dissolving all their friendships because they become too focused on the broad. And when they're not dealing with the broad because they don't have rich friendships and they don't keep balance, they're going to suffer. Like I have a good friend of mine whom I almost never see and never hear from. And either we're not as good of friends as I think, or he's imbalanced, or he's a typical man, and we don't maintain our friendships as effectively as we should. And in as much as that is the case, I do my part as a patriarch and leader in the community to create forms wherein men can come together, because typically men, we don't link up unless it's on business, right? We come together to collaborate on business. There has to be a greater purpose. Women don't link up just to go to the spa, get their nails done. What's the male equivalent of that, right? There really isn't one. We like to be productive when we get together. Shout out to Melvin. And that's why I'll organize a conference and then have a football game or a boxing match and all these different things, because we need the social outlet. It is critical and fundamental to our human happiness. And if you want to understand your happiness better, in Boston University, the first whole section is on self-sustainability, your happiness, your mindset, because it's critical. Come on now. Yeah, we get into it. And feel free to send in your comments, questions. Hit the like button if you haven't. We got notes here today, ladies and saints. And I got to stop doing this. I'll be taking out hours to make sure that this stuff is going to be expressed to you in the most linear, clear fashion, just giving you pure pith. Excuse me, pith. Carrying on. So women leverage their body, and it's kind of funny when you think about it, because women have so much to say about the OF girls, they have so much to say about the Blade Runners. But in actual fact, every woman is leveraging her body. It's just that the Blade Runners and the OF girls are getting paid upfront in cash. You heard me? These chicks they're running what's called a long con. The long con is them finessing you over time, right? They're finessing you in particular, the OF girls and the Blade Runners. They're finessing everyone. But they're all using their body. This is a female thing, to use their body, the lure of intimacy. And they often use it to put you, the man, into a position you don't want to be in, which is a position whereby the female is dominating you. And that structure we call monogamy. Yes, we call monogamy. You get forced into monogamy. Most of you don't want to be in that structure, but you're doing it because if you don't follow their rules, they're going to cut you off from intercourse. and they're going to try to destroy your reputation. In actual fact, you just agreed to that because you thought that you couldn't get the draws in any other way. Well, there you go. So now you have a better understanding of yourself and how you got tricked and finessed. Better to do the finessing than to be getting finessed. Come on now. But let me tell you about a bigger finesse. And this is a direct result of women's ability to form groups and to, at some level, stick together and cooperate. Women in their Confederacy exercise dominance. Their victory, we call this alimony, child support. You ever heard of those things? Or how about the domestic violence laws? Violence is violence, assault is assault, except when it's on a woman. Now it carries more weight. And you can observe this in the language of the culture. Excuse me. You'll hear things like, believe all women. What? That's strange because they're so dishonest. Or you'll hear things like, you should never hit a woman. Word? Never? No matter what? That doesn't sound quite right. And if you object to it, oh, he's a woman beater. Word? Are we lying now? Uh-huh. So we need to make sure that we're in community and we can use our confederacy to drive policy such that we can establish patriarchy and retreat from the current matriarchy. And the matriarchy is detrimental to both men, women, and families. Hmm? And not only you being in community will benefit you in your ability to protect yourself and protect your rights, but in addition, women prefer you to be in community because they know about the fact that whatever community you're a part of, whatever tribe you're a part of, they are going to also be a part of that tribe when they get with you. And as a result, they're going to be able to benefit from all of the protections and perks of that tribe or group or organization. And of course, the fact that you're a part of an organization, this is something that gives you social proof that you're not a complete weirdo because generally groups, tribes, communities, organizations have standards. And give me a sec. I'm sorry. Give me one sec. Let me do something. Yes, groups, tribes, communities, they have standards. And with those standards, just give me one moment. If you guys be kind enough in the chat to confirm that you can see and hear me, I'd be appreciative. I just saw that there was someone in the live chat being a nuisance. And so um, I just put on subscriber only mode. I don't know if any of my moderators were able to ban the person, but I always encourage you guys to be aggressive. If you were for some reason not able to ban the person, let me know and I'll see if I can change the settings. But anyways, groups have standards. So a woman sees the social proof of you at least being respected by someone and viewed as normal by some significant group of people. That's a good thing. I got so many freaking notes. It's ridiculous. So it's important to represent or be a part of a community or tribe. A woman knows that when she gets with you, she also gets access to that community and all the benefits and protections of being a part of it. So the worst thing for you and for the woman is to look at you as like an individual atom. So if something were to happen to you or there was a threat to you, She much prefers the idea that you can call up the homies and you guys can get the situation taken care of. You as an individual don't have to be the toughest guy in the world. But if she knows you got 30 of your friends or 30 of the saints that are going to go to bat for you no matter what, that's going to feel a lot better to her. And then the way it benefits you when you really think about this is actually quite interesting. It effectively lowers the standard. Yeah, it lowers the standard that you have to meet because she's like, okay, well, he doesn't have to be, 6'5", 240, because if anybody wants an issue with him, they got to have an issue with 30 other people. So people aren't going to try it because they know he's connected. These things matter to women. And in fact, I'd say this is one of the few things that women are not consciously thinking of. So often, women are consciously thinking of how much money do you have? How tall are you? What is your family? With this kind of a thing, they're not even consciously thinking of that. They might talk about friend group, but it's really a lot deeper than that. It's, do you have a group? What's your position within the group? All of those, and like, do people in the group actually like you and welcome you within the group? All those things are critically important. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about is women are very stingy and thrifty with the value that they know you seek, and that value being their body. You don't ration your attention, and you absolutely should. As a man, you should ensure that your attention has a cost and or is only being allocated where there is a return on investment. No conversations for free. If you're having a conversation with her, try to convert for the date, the smash, or the contact info very early on to let you know if that's a conversation you should really even be in. Because so much of who you are is going to speak through you. Come on now. It's not going to be about what you're saying. It's going to be about how you're saying. It's going to be about your body posture. It's going to be about your countenance. It's going to be about your apparel, the brands you're wearing, the fact that you're not wearing a brand. Are you wearing custom? Your word choice, your diction, your sophistication. All of those things are going to let the woman know if she's down or not down. So what you need to do is try to make the conversion of one of those three aforementioned items early on, so you know, okay, this is a woman that gets some attention, this is a woman that gets no attention. And despite all of that and how those things are going, as a man, I'm trying to figure out, like, what does that sound? Was that a truck driving by? As a man, you need to be a man of peace and productivity, whether you're with or without a woman. That's our challenge. Is so often we're either consciously in need of female companionship and whatever that may mean to you, and that's causing us turmoil, or what's worse is we listen to some doofus dating coach and we're in denial. We're lying about the fact that we need female companionship. We're pretending as though it's all good when it's not all good. We're pretending as though we feel complete when we don't have that in our life. Come on now. May I acknowledge Austin came in via Venmo. He writes, yes, Saint, I already damn near stay with her in her current apartment. It'd be like that. She gave me the keys. She graduates soon and wants to know if she has to move back home or stay out here with me after graduation. So there's a deadline. Yeah, tell her to stay out there. May I acknowledge Carter writes, peace of the saints. I also acknowledge Das. He writes, did you receive my previous Venmo about the laptop? Absolutely did not. Unless that was mentioned in the other one. No, I don't see that. No, we did not get the one about the laptop. Shout out to Wayne. He writes, more tuition for the high-level game. I appreciate you. Oh, yes, indeed. And it goes over a lot of people's head, It get like that. Another thing that women do, and this is a part of them holding the intercourse away from you. When they're holding the intercourse back, they're getting to know you. They're getting to know you, which is actually a fairly decent thing. It's very decent of them to get to know someone before they sleep with them. I wish women would try that out at the right times. They usually try that out at the wrong times. But anyways, point is, you should get to know her. And what I mean by that is you're going to suffer a lot less if you take out a little more time to get to know the woman before you make sacrifices like having intercourse without protection and then having to deal with the consequences of such. You'll be able to do a little bit more risk management. Now, granted, anytime you're dealing with a human being, you're in a risky situation, especially with women because half the time they don't know who they are. And, half the time they're growing and healing, right? And lying as well. But the more time you invest in getting to know them, the better you can manage your risk. Send in your comments, questions now. We are winding down. Another thing we can learn from the human female is that they don't start with the truth. Surely we will find out the truth about them, but they don't start with it. They start with images, representations, lies. I do not encourage any of you to be liars, but I do encourage you to be thrifty with the truth. This is back to my principle of either you tell the truth or you choose silence. It's often best to say less. And this goes in direct agreement with what I said earlier with regards to you're a listener. It's hard to be a talker and a listener at the same time. Probably want to focus on listening. Ladies and saints, I want to thank those of you who have been here watching, especially those of you who are members, those of you who sent in tuition supporting this live stream. And also thank you to those who hit the like button. Share any comments, questions you have below. Until next time, peace to the saints.